Coming up on WUFT Midday, the Trump administration announced that smartphones and computers are exempt from the tariffs against China.
And one person is dead with 5 still missing on a boat that was found capsized on the Florida coast. We'll tell you what we know about the ongoing rescue mission.
Plus, a man was arrested in the connection to an arson on the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro's house. How this tragic attack on the governor has impacted him and his family.
You're watching WUFT Midday.
The latest human spaceflight included a star-studded crew. The all-female crew blasted off at 9:31 this morning on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin spacecraft. This is WUFT Midday. I'm Jessica Nitti.
And I'm Madison Ginsberg. The crew, which includes pop star Katy Perry, is back on Earth after taking off from West Texas. The flight lasted around 11 minutes and traveled more than 60 miles above Earth. Along with Perry, the crew included Bezos' journalist fiancée, Lauren Sanchez, journalist Gayle King, former NASA rocket scientist Aisha Bowe, bioastronautic research scientist and civil rights activist Amanda Wynn, and filmmaker Carrie Ann Flynn. The Blue Origin mission marks the first all-female space flight since 1963.
President Donald Trump says no tariffs for tech devices as his trade war with China carries on. NBC's Alice Barr explains why the exemption was made and how this will affect the economy.
This morning, more tariff turmoil. The Trump administration's surprise move exempting tech devices like smartphones and computers from punishing 125% tariffs on Chinese imports, though a 20% levy remains, giving stock markets an early boost, even as President Trump suggested the reprieve would be short-lived, with new tariffs coming on imported semiconductors.
Like we did with steel, like we did with automobiles, like we did with aluminum, which are now fully on. We'll be doing that with semiconductors, with chips.
The president saying details would come over the next week, and the Commerce Secretary said smartphones and computers would be included in those new sector tariffs, also touting upcoming tariffs on pharmaceuticals.
We need our medicines and we need semiconductors and our electronics to be built in America.
The uncertainty over when import taxes could hit and how much they'll force prices up, setting American consumers on edge.
I feel like I shouldn't have to be checking the news every single day to make sure I can afford products that we've all been kind of accustomed to.
As small businesses that import from China stock up early to head off price spikes.
So they just kept exponentially growing, and so it's been really a nightmare.
Those signs of economic stress raising concerns among forecasters like investor Ray Dalio, who predicted the 2008 financial crisis.
I think that right now we are at a decision-making point and very close to a recession. And I'm worried about something worse than a recession if this isn't handled well.
As the Trump administration urges calm. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A 38-year-old man has been arrested in connection with an arson at the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro over the weekend. Reed Binion tells us more on the attack made on the governor and his family.
This type of violence is not okay.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro speaking just hours after what officials are calling a targeted arson at the governor's residence. The attack happened early Sunday morning as Shapiro and his family slept inside.
Reporting a large fire in the dining room on the first floor. They can see fire out the windows.
Fire crews responded to the blaze around 2 a.m. and extinguished the flames. The governor said he, his wife, their 4 children and 2 dogs, and another family were safely evacuated. However, the building is significantly damaged. Images of the aftermath show destroyed furniture, ash-covered floors, and some remnants of the Passover dinner the governor hosted Saturday night. Investigators say the attacker had a plan, coming over a fence around the governor's residence and forcibly entering the home before setting the fire. Police said he had homemade incendiary devices and was inside less than a minute, evading troopers who were searching for him. The suspect was arrested later Sunday.
I'm pleased to announce that we do have an individual in custody. His name is Cody Balmer.
Governor Shapiro defiant in the wake of the attack.
If this individual was trying to deter me from doing my job as your governor, rest assured I will find a way to work even harder.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Prosecutors say they plan to charge the man arrested with attempted murder, terrorism, and aggravated arson, among other charges. The suspect could also face federal charges. The governor said Sunday the motive wasn't yet known.
And with many families traveling for spring break ahead of the Easter holiday, health officials are worried about measles cases spreading.
WUFT's Aiden Wacksman joins us live in the studio to tell us more about the states affected by the outbreak.
Madison, according to the Centers for Disease Control, more than 700 measles cases have been reported in the U.S. That's the highest number since 2019. Multiple cases have been reported in Oklahoma, Kansas, and New Mexico, but the disease has reached as far as Hawaii. The director of public health in Lubbock, Texas, urges people to get the measles vaccine with spring break approaching for some.
The MMR vaccine that protects us against measles is the way to stop from getting measles.
According to the CDC, if one person has measles, up to 9 out of 10 people nearby will become infected if they're not protected. Health officials say 1 dose of the vaccine is 93% effective at preventing measles. Live in the studio, Aiden Wacksman, WUFT News.
This weekend brought cooler temperatures to north central Florida.
And the UF weather team is tracking whether the cooler mornings will continue. UF meteorologist William Maxham is live in the weather studio, tracking the warm-up and what you can expect for the rest of your work week.
Yes, temperatures are warming up this week. Today, though, still pretty chilly into the morning. We were in the 40s in most of north central Florida. Currently, it is 73 degrees, no wind around campus at the moment, but this afternoon, wind should pick up out of the south, and that's going to help to pump temperatures up. We're going to be above the 80-degree mark today, well into the 80s, in fact. 77 is our temperature in Ocala under the sunshine. It's 75 Palatka. We'll be making up to the mid-80s today. We're tracking a cold front. It's coming tomorrow, not bringing rain, but it is going to slow down that warming trend today. We're well above the average into the 80s, but we're into the 70s behind this front. We'll track our temperatures and a big warm up into the weekend coming up.
Florida ranks second in the nation for the number of kids who have died in hot cars, but one law aims to change that. WUFT's Emily Drelick explains how to keep your kids safe from your overheating vehicle.
Ever since becoming a mom, Amy Diaz has always reminded herself to watch her back seat.
During the summer, I've always just made sure to double check the back of my car, especially when I get somewhere. And even if I know I dropped them off, I always just do a double check just to make sure.
Araya Page died 2 years ago after she was left in a hot car for 5 hours.
I think it's sad, you know.
Her grandparents said, not another child. They pushed for legislation called Araya's Act. Her family joined state officials at the Florida Capitol to remind parents to stay vigilant of their kids for Hot Car Death Prevention Month.
It's a tragedy when these things happen, so it is something that's absolutely preventable. So if there's any way that, you know, the awareness can be there, people can be reminded.
The danger isn't just for kids. The Florida Department of Highway Safety says pets and vulnerable adults are also at risk of dying in a hot car. Dog owner Erin Buchanan always checks on her canine passengers, Fig and Olive.
I just want to make sure that they're safe and nothing, happens.
That was Emily Drelick reporting. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration wants you to remember: stop, look, lock. First, stop before you get out of the car. Check your entire vehicle, especially the back seat for your kid. Then you can lock the door and walk away. Remember, never leave a child in a vehicle unattended. Rolling the windows down or parking in the shade doesn't do much to change the temperature of the car.
A number of Florida universities are collaborating with immigration and customs enforcement to crack down on illegal immigration, and that includes the University of Florida. Among them, the University of Florida, whose administration signed an agreement Friday allowing local law enforcement to act as immigration officers. It gives local officers the authority to perform specified immigration officer functions and to serve and execute warrants of arrest for immigration violations. The move comes as the Trump administration continues to crack down on immigration. Other universities that signed the agreement include the University of South Florida and the University of Central Florida. The Trump administration is being hit with legal actions as international students across the country are having their visas revoked. An Atlanta immigration law firm is filing to block the government from the deportation of these students. The lawyers of the case, which as of now represents 20 students, says the visa cancellations were unlawful. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and ICE's acting director Todd Lyons are defendants in the case. Lawyers are asking the federal court to issue a temporary restraining order and reinstate the visas of the students.
One person is dead with 5 others missing after a boat capsized off the southeast coast of Florida. The boat upended on Friday and was brought to the attention of authorities after a Good Samaritan reported the incident. The U.S. Coast Guard began a rescue mission on Sunday. 4 survivors have been found, with 1 patient suffering serious injuries.
A local nonprofit is bringing neighbors together for pancakes with a side of prairie preservation. The Alachua County Trust hosted their annual Pancakes on the Prairie Saturday morning. Locals gathered to enjoy some family fun and flapjacks at the Tuscaloosa Preserve in Micanopy. Attendees were able to enjoy a variety of pancakes, including gluten-free and vegan options. For ACT event coordinator Emma Olmos, the event is a way to give back to the community.
It's both good for us, as individuals, but as a community to be able to come together and both champion the work that ACT does to do protection on land, but also champion the community that we have here, like Gainesville.
The nonprofit works on conservation in 22 countries in North Central Florida. Through donations and buying properties, the Land Trust creates parks and preserves for the public to enjoy. The community can support the ACT's conservation efforts by donating online and attending their events.
The city of Gainesville awarded the University of Florida's men's basketball team the key to the city. Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward presented the key to the city to the team on Saturday. The ceremony took place at halftime during the Orange and Blue game. This follows the Gators' electric run in the March Madness, which ended with them being crowned national champions.
The future of Hodgetown Medieval Fair is uncertain. City commissioners are relocating the festivities once again for 2027. The city says next year's event will still take place at the same park. The beloved city event, the Hodgetown Medieval Fair, started in Alachua County in 1986. It moved to Depot Park in 2024 after 20 years at the fairgrounds. Gainesville Mayor Harvey Ward wants his staff to think outside the box to reshape the festival. City commissioners' decision to relocate again started multiple motions, including searching funding sources and partners.
They are often looking for a more immersive experience and one that feels like you have walked into the 13 or 1400s and a modified sort of historical fantasy environment.
Venues being considered for future fairs include the Alachua County Agricultural and Equestrian Center, Gainesville Raceway, and the West End Golf Course. After a sunny, cooler weekend, temperatures are warmer this afternoon. William Maxham gives us the rest.
Yep, we're looking very sunny. Temperatures are moving up. In fact, we were into the 70s over the weekend, and we're back in the 80s for the first couple days this week. There is a front that's going to slow down that rising temperature trend. Currently, though, it is 76. Variable wind around campus at the moment. That wind is going to pick up out of the south later into the afternoon. Help with that warm up. We'll make it up into the middle 80s today. Currently at 77 in the Villages and Palatka, 79. Our current temperature, Daytona, 75 in Stark. The wind not very strong at the moment. We've got a couple of spots where we've got winds over 15 miles an hour like Daytona, but that wind gradually going to pick up speed as we get later into the day and help nudge us up a little higher than yesterday, but we're already on pace for a pretty significant warm up. Yesterday made it up to 79 degrees, and we're 7 degrees warmer than we were this time yesterday. So you might think you could add 7 degrees to yesterday's highs. We'll be close to that. About 85 degrees this afternoon, 87 Ocala. This is above average, and while the air is dry and the temperatures are warm, that does bring relative humidity very low. We've got relative humidities into the 20% range into the afternoons. For the next couple of days, that is going to increase the fire danger when it is this dry. These kind of numbers really dry out that fuel, and definitely not good to do any kind of outdoor burning over the next couple of days. Each afternoon, we'll have that extremely low relative humidity helping to dry out the grass and other available fuels. Storms are what we need to get rid of these dry conditions, but all that's going to be well to our north today. The front that's bringing those storms, though, is going to arrive here. It's just really going to struggle to generate any kind of rainfall. So here's 1 o'clock this afternoon, front moving southward. There could be a shower as far south as Atlanta, but that's probably as close as that rain is going to get. For us, we'll see a wind turning around to the north by Wednesday morning. That's going to bring in cooler temperatures Wednesday. We're down into the 70s, but it is just a very small little dip into those temperatures. We're quickly moving back up into the 80s, upper 80s as we close out the work week. And over the weekend, we're back into the 90s and feeling very summer-like. There is no precipitation likely into the next 7 to 10 days.
Summer vacations are coming up and we're heading into the time of year when people like to travel. But if you're going long distance, there's a potential danger health experts say you should know about. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to a cardiologist about how to prevent blood clots in your legs during long trips.
It's a season of travel, and whether you're vacationing by car or by plane, experts say long trips can take a toll on your body.
Blood clots are very rare with air travel, but they are not uncommon with long distance travel. You're talking about travel more than 4 or 5 hours.
Cardiologist Dr. Sumith Alady with Orlando Health says a blood clot can be life-threatening. Symptoms include swelling, pain, or tenderness in the legs, especially if it's in just one leg. Skin may also be red and warm to the touch. If you have these symptoms, seek care immediately.
If you delay that and if you take some time, then that blood clot may have broken off and you're giving a chance to develop a blood clot in the lungs, which is more life-threatening.
To prevent blood clots on long trips, a lady says to take breaks. In the car, stop every couple of hours to stretch your legs. On a plane, wearing compression socks can help reduce swelling and improve blood flow. If you can't stand up, you can also try calf exercises while seated to keep the blood moving.
You can do some toe lifts or heel lifts, squeeze your calves.
A lady says knowing your risk is also important. You're more likely to get blood clots if there's a personal or family history of them, or if you have weight or vein problems. Those who are pregnant or recently had surgery are also at increased risk. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Typically detected through ultrasounds or TC scans or MRIs. Blood clots are treated with medicines or devices that can dissolve, break up, or capture the clot.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, the federal government approved several rounds of stimulus payments to Americans. If you haven't cashed in on the check, time is running out. Tomorrow is tax day as well as the last day you can claim your stimulus check. It marks the 3-year deadline to claim tax refunds and credits for the year 2021. To earn the check, you have to file all W-2 documents and other employment and income forms from 2021. The full $1,400 will be sent to a person as long as their 2021 gross income was less than $75,000. The check isn't claimed, the money will go back to the U.S. Treasury.
Today marks the first day of the new anti-fraud measures added to Social Security by the Department of Government Efficiency. DOJ will conduct an anti-fraud check on all phone applications. If flagged by the system for possible fraud, you will have to verify your identity in person. In addition to this, a new policy prohibits beneficiaries from changing their direct deposit information by phone. The agency claims these efforts are aimed at strengthening identity verification within the program.
To celebrate Easter, many families dye eggs for the holiday. But with egg prices at a record high, people are left scrambling for an alternative to the popular pastime. Jet Puff Marshmallows is stepping in and released a color dyeing kit just in time for Sunday's holiday. They released a first-of-its-kind Dip and Decorate dozen kit for about $2. It comes with a 24-ounce bag of extra-large marshmallows, 6 colors, miniature tongs, and dipping for decorating pens for design. If you're interested in getting one, the kits are being sold exclusively on Walmart's website and will be restocked daily.
Let's take a look at what's coming up tonight on First at 5 on Channel 5. Tonight we break down the agreement between the University of Florida and ICE and what this means for students. We'll also share the impacts already being seen across campus. Plus, we bring the latest updates on former Gator recruit Jaden Rashada's case against the team.
And before we go, one last check on the weather.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It is only chilly into the early mornings, and this morning we were in the 40s, but we'll be in the mid-80s this afternoon. Still a little cool tomorrow morning, too, into the mid-50s, and there is a cold front that's working its way through. We'll be into the upper 70s tomorrow, but that's the only below average day that we have in the extended forecast. We're back into the mid-80s Thursday and into the 90s by the weekend. The heat sticks around into next week, when we stay well above average into the mid-90s potentially by the middle of next week. Rainfall looking extremely limited. We're going to be very dry this week with no chance of rain coming into the next few. Hopefully that will change by the end of next week, but it looks like a dry extended forecast ahead.
Thanks for joining us for WUFT's Midday. We're back here tomorrow for another edition.
We will see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.